Hello all, welcome back again. In this video, we'll be seeing how to make an angle console using CATIA as a CAD tool. As we proceed, the first is understanding the drawing. Now there are three views given to us. First, let us understand what is the angle of projection. Considering this as my front view, because I can see more features in the front view. This will be my right view. Right view is, if this is your front view and this is your right view, the angle of projection is first angle projection. Now, they have also given us a simple detail view for understanding of this feature with a different scaling over here. This is basic understanding of the view. From the beginning, we'll start with making these plates and then slowly start adding the material one after the other. Now, to begin making this model, we will be using a part module. So, under start mechanical design, we have part design. Now that we have understood the drawing, we can begin with the front view and then consider the right view and proceed with one feature after the other, following the feature based approach. Now, since this is my front view, first I'd like to start with the small plate, and then as you can see, and then slowly proceed with the model. So first I'm using my pad command, considering this as considering the front view. The profile should actually go like this, but I'd like to give rounds a little later. I do not want to give it now only. So I'll just make the profile first and then give rounds later. So I can mirror this. I'll make the profile step by step so we can see how it works. You can simultaneously do it with me if you're actually interested in doing it. I have no, it's a better approach. Here goes the shape this way. Now we know that to make this arc, we require this center, that is the second slot point. But we have dimension for the first slot point. We can use them as a reference and then make it. For instance, this is the center. I'm trying to make the slot, as you can see. Now, I know the slot dimensions because they're already given. So let me try to take the dimensions stating this is 70, and we know the end to end length of this is 52. Now, understanding this, we know that the first point, as you can see, is at a distance of 351 from the base. This is my base and the distance is 351. Now, the reason why I have taken this as a reference is because I need this center to create the arc. So I am trying to create the arc using this center and give the dimensions. I'm sorry I did not switch it back, and this is supposed to be as shown in the drawing 55. Now you can place points here as well, over here and then over here, because you can use this later for the design, for the same design, instead of repeating the dimensions multiple times. Or you can actually keep it here as well, but we'll repeat that later. Now we can use our lines. I'll start from here, joining over here and mirror it onto the opposite side. We require to maintain tangency, of course, from here to here, which is mandatory, and the same is here, but I can just extend it and join them together. Great. This is your profile. Now I'll close this. Once you exit, let us see how much we have to add this feature or add this profile to. They are open. Okay, the points are open. I'll keep them as a reference a little later. Now, these are my projections. Now, while doing this, there is a small issue of the addition of material, which is done only up to 25. So let's try to take that up to 25. Understanding this, since this is the right view, let me try to take the right view once and show it to you. From this plate, I'd like to make this sketch. So it tries to add material to the next by maintaining 35. So on this, I'm trying to create an addition material on this face. Again, I'm trying to go back to my right view to avoid a lot of confusions. And then I'm trying to take the rectangle from this face. Now, I know that the rectangle should be coincident on this body, so I'm trying to coincide it. Similarly, I know that there is a point which is breaking it at a certain location. You do remember break command during our session at in the tutorial. So I can break this profile here and then give two dimensions. That is, from end to the broken point is supposed to be 200 and till the end is 160. Now this is 35. This is already given in the drawing and it's given over here, which is 35. Now exit. It tries to add, of course it tries to add the material since we want that. How much do you want the material to be added? It should be added till the next phase. So I'll be using up to plane or up to surface and then select the face. This will be your front view. If you want, you can match the front view and see with the model. You can match the front view and see with the model as well. Since we have to remove few slots over here, so let me try to remove them as well on this face. Again, I'm trying to shift it back to the front view. You can shift horizontal and vertical as well, which we haven't seen in any session yet. I'll take a separate I'll make a separate video on that. Now, we know that the dimension from this to this is 120 as you can see. So from here to here, let me try to give the dimension. Now, similarly, when I mirror this, the end distance should be 100. So I can make two cuts at the same time, but it's not actually advisable to do so when you're following a feature based approach. So what I'll do is I'll mirror this, I'll keep this in a construction format and then try to maintain the 100. Now, we know the depth of course is 10, which is shown in this view. It's the same for both the cuts. So I'll just give 10 here and then say OK. It tries to remove the material. Let me go back to the isometric view again and say up to next. It tries to remove the material. You can mirror this feature with respect to the center on the other side. Initially, we maintain symmetry for that reason only, because there are a lot of features which can be mirrored with respect to the center plane. Now, I want to make this cut next. This is an easier cut. We can use a pocket and make it on the right face. Now, again, to avoid confusion, let us take the right view and then start removing the material. Here, my references are these. So, I am trying to take my references. Now, since we have cut the body or excuse me, we have cut the body at this location while making the initial sketch. We do not have to give 200 again. We have used our break command to do so earlier, but we have to give the depth of cut, which is 10. Now, let me try to coincide this on that. And try to cut the material. This is the slot cut. Continuing the model, to make this rib, we require this feature. This feature actually have a separate dimensions as well. So let us try to make that feature on the reference. This is my reference. On this, I'd like to make it. We already know that this center is the center of the internal slot second point, which is not other point than 351. Again, I'm trying to use this as a reference. Now, while placing a point, I'll try to maintain concentricity with this. So I will get the initial point of my slot. This is the initial point of my slot. Now, while making the slot, I can directly use the slot command, select the center, the next center and start creating the slot. While doing this, earlier we have maintained the dimensions, but we couldn't take references because of the points. You can make a sketch separately in the beginning itself and also maintain the dimensions, or you can repeat it. These won't get reflected, only one type of dimension will get reflected in the drafting, not all the dimensions will get reflected. So once I exceed, this will be added up to 25 as you can see. Now, while adding 25, there is something which is written as typical, which is TYP. That means these two slots are also of the same addition of material. And as you can see, this 45 and 48 and 36 also given. That means all the internal or external slots, whatever we are seeing, are also of the same dimensions. Now, you want to make a cut, you can, but I'd like to add this before proceeding or making the cuts further. Let me try to use this as my reference and start making them. Now, again, there is a dimension of 370 given to us, so we can mirror it onto the opposite side without any issue. But let's try to make the shape first. You can give full round or try tangent fillet also later, no issues again with that. Now, again, there is a slot inside this with respect to the center, as you can see. Now, the second point is should be coincident on this, so I have already made them coincident, or I can again give concentricity, as you can see. Now, the distance for the below one is 74, that is from this base, the start point of the slot is 74. This is 74. We know the internal slot dimensions. We can give the internal slot dimension to constrain the sketch only. The internal slot dimensions are 48 and 36. So this is supposed to be 48 and this is supposed to be 36. I have not given outer to outer dimensions yet. So that is why the deformation of the shape is happening. Now we know the overall length from here to here is actually 7. This is your 70. Now, the whole thing has to be mirrored onto the opposite side, or you can just select them and mirror it, or you can just select them this way and also mirror it. I want them in a construction format, so again I'll select all of them and keep them in a construction format. Now, I know that the distance between the center to center is 370 as shown in the drawing. 370, which is this. I am maintaining the 370 and exiting. Now the addition of material should be 25. So instead of repeating 25 n number of times, I'll be using the external reference, internal reference of the previous body. Again, I can mirror these features with respect to the center. There are no issues with that, but it's advisable to give round before doing this. So let me try to go back and then try to give round and then come back. I try to give round here for 15 and then maybe go back to mirror. So it does it till here. This is your feature. There is a rib which you can see of 35. So let's try to add that. This rib is stiffener in CATIA. There are different type of stiffeners. So under this you can see the stiffener. Let me try to make the sketch first using the right plane. Again, I want to go back to my right view and give the references whatever I need. These are my references. I do not need anything else apart from this. If I need, I will take them a little later. Now, I am trying to create an arc this way by maintaining tangency, which is again mandatory for me. This is 30. And then there is another arc which goes from here and is maintaining 80. It has to maintain, of course, tangency with this face. So I'm trying to maintain tangency and give the 80. There is a line joining these two. So let's try to join these two lines and then give tangency conditions directly. Since there is some additional part, let us try to trim that additional part off and then say exit. Now it tries to add material. The rib should be of 35 thickness. So I'll give 35 thickness and say okay. This is the rib. Now leftover portions are just your slot cuts. So let's try to make the first slot cut and then continue it here and here. So on the first slot cut, let me try to take it on this face. Again, I can give these the concentricity, or I can use these centers by default. So let me try to take it in the center first and then try to give concentricity. These two should maintain concentricity, of course, so they're maintaining concentricity. Now, similarly, the other two also should maintain concentricity. They are also maintaining concentricity. The dimensions are same as you can see. So let me try to give the dimensions for these. This is the distance from here to here is supposed to be 36, and the overall length is supposed to be 48, which is by default taken because of the previous differences. Exit, you can cut it up to last and say okay, it cuts the feature. Same cut has to be made here as well. So again you can use the face. Again same process, you can use your references as well. Again I'm trying to make it this way, and here I'd be using the concentricity for these two features. I know the dimensions again as usual, since we have the drawing given for us. So these two is supposed to be 36 and then the other one is supposed to be 48. Sorry. Now once I exit, you can cut off the material to the next. You can mirror this onto the opposite side using the center plane because it's the same feature. Now, if you observe closely, there is an internal slot cut which are showing in your hidden lines. These slot cuts are in line with this feature which has to be cut at this location. Now, when I say inline, they have to be in line with this. So, I'd be using this as my reference firstly. Secondly, the distance is 270. Okay, so let me try to make a slot first. Now, when I go back to the right view and see, the distance from this point till the end is supposed to be 270. I'm trying to make you understand from the existing drawing that I have. Now, you know what is 270, it's already given. And we already know the slot size. The slot size is supposed to be 50 by 30. Now, I can give the dimensions and say this is supposed to be 50 or 30, anything. End to end is supposed to be 30. Now, let me check by removing the material up to the next and see. I can go back into your front view and also see the hidden view. Maybe there might be an issue of where yeah, it is the other way around. That is, this is supposed to be 30 and this is supposed to be 50. I've read the drawing wrong. Now this cut is not up to next. I'm telling you this cut is only up to 15 is shown over here. So let me try to take that as 15. Now coming back to the cuts again, you can make another cut as well, which is onto the internal. Actually the earlier one was correct. Yes, the earlier one was correct. This is supposed to be 50 and this is supposed to be 30. The first drawing was right. Now, I have the same feature under the other side. If you want, I can mirror it now, or I can select both the features and mirror it later. Or let me try to finish the pocket for the other cut, other slot cut as well, and then try to do it. Now, the other slot cut is again very simple for us because we can maintain concentricity. So, I am trying to maintain concentricity with this. Similarly, trying to maintain concentricity with this. And the overall length is actually given as 30, which we already know. So let's try to maintain that and say it's supposed to be 30. Exit. It tries to cut the material. It has to cut it up to the next. So let me try to cut it up to the next. Now the same thing can be mirrored with respect to the center. This will be your mirror. These are your slot cuts provided for by the hidden lines. Now last are your rounds. There are no other features pending. So let us try to give rounds. First, I'd like to give rounds to these features which are actually of 5 mm throughout. As you can see, this is R5. So let me try to give those first. Take this as R5 and this as well as R5, and the whole body here is R5 and the internal as well. Okay, we'll do this a little later. This body as well. That also we can do it a little later. This is my R5. Now, there are other R5s which are supposed to be given here as well. Let us finish that in one attempt. I'm using the same fillet to give R5s here. These are my R5s. Now, I think the R5 is for this edge as well. So why not add the same here as well and give them and then say okay. This will be your R5s. Now, there are R15s as well, which we have already seen. The R15s, but the other one is over here. Let's try to give that as R15. Now, we have other fillets as well, that is located at this location. These two are of the same fillet, which is of size 40. Now, there are other fillets as well in between this and this, which are of size 60. Now we can directly give fillets because they flow through the complete model over here as well as over here. This is supposed to be 5. And same way, we also have 20 given over here at this edge. This is 20 as well as this is also 20. So once I give this 20 and give rounds now, it flows through the complete body as you can see. It flows through the complete body to give rounds on the body. Okay, the other edge is not required. Let me try to delete this edge. This does not have round. Supposed to be 5, sorry. These are your rounds. This is how you make a simple CATIA 3D model using CATIA by understanding the detail views, the first angle of projection as well as the hidden views. I can rotate the model and show it to you once. It looks like this. The model actually is this way. You can match different views and also see this is my front view. It matches with the drawing. This is also my right view. Again, it matches with the drawing. If you want to learn further more complex models or advanced level of CATIA, you can please feel free to contact us. Our number and the details are given in the description below. If meanwhile like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.